Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. Today we're going to go over the top 8 breakdown of the PPG online tournament that's happened this past weekend. Not only was it like one of the first like big online tournaments we've had in a while, and Bandai sponsored, but also like one of the first like set 10 legal tournaments. I know we've been having a bunch of those tournaments online for a while, but the first one since like the set's actually been released, which is super cool. And if you look at this top 8 breakdown, you can see that there's just a bunch of diversity as well. So it's been already a really cool format to look into. Shoutouts to PPG for not only making this graphic and showing us all this, but also all the deck lists that we have in here too. They inputted them all, so really appreciate having that information for me to go over. And make sure to check their own video as well. That will be in the description. They also go over George's thoughts on the cards and the meta in general. But let's go into my thoughts. So we've got 6 leaders. We've got 2 Dredge Crew, 2 Veggies. Those are the only duplicate ones. We also have a Kid Crew. We have a Fused Zamasu. We have a Vegito and an Invoker. So really cool how diverse this is. I'd say like for the first time in a while, we don't have like a yellow, like a yellow leader in the top. I don't think any. Off the top of my head, I don't think there were like any yellow cards besides 8 being played by any of these decks, which is funny because yellow used to be I'd say before all this stuff going on, like when we had physical events, yellow was probably one of the most dominating colors in the game. So this set looks to take them down a little bit, which I'm okay with. And definitely a lot of green, and also just black. Even though like Veggies kind of suffered a loss with all the Universe 3 stuff being banned, they still have like a lot of force, and I'm happy to see that the ban adjusted them in a sense that they're not overpowered, but they're still playable. That's like the best way to do kind of card adjustments, and it's really hard to do. So I'm happy it seems to have panned out for all this. And yeah, let's go into the decks. All these decks are obviously mostly unique and everything. So we're gonna go to the first place deck, which is Anthony Figueroa's Invoker Crew. Now I will say, like, okay, this deck is super powerful, obviously, and honestly, like the biggest thing that if you look at this deck and you're like, okay, this is pretty much an exact copy of what a deck would look like, Series 9. Going into the only big difference is Son Goku Rival Seeker, and this card's huge, and that's kind of like how important this card is. Like it's very powerful, and this deck is very strong. And going undefeated, going 5-0 is an impressive feat, even like on online tournament everything, especially like best of 1. I think Invoker might do a little bit better best of 3, and obviously there's no sideboard too, but I think it worked in his favor, obviously, and it did very well. But yeah, it's very interesting that the first place deck was. Pretty much there's a Series 9 deck with 3 additional cards, and honestly I don't think this card's super duper important. It can help you, or I guess it is important obviously, but the fact that you don't have to even run 4 of them, it's that kind of like you're bound to see it that often. You don't need to see it until turn 5. Just says like how strong this deck is, and like this is obviously one of the best cards in the game right now, and it's kind of jumped in price too. It's like $400 or whatever. It used to be down at 200. But this is just a great way to finish the game. Being able to just do damage that your opponent can't interact, which is great, and just a solid build. So I'm not surprised that like one of the first big tournaments out the gate of set 10 is a set 9 deck with some set 10 tech, and hopefully we'll see some more kind of unique builds of Surge Coup, and not Surge Coup, but yeah, Surge Coup are sorry, Invoker Coup. There's so many like Gokus in here, but. Invoker Crew that maybe uses some of like the new Unison stuff, but I think it's obviously this is a solid build and you can't go wrong with Invoker. Next up, we've got my deck. Spoilers I placed in this. This is what I would run if I had it. I think from the official list that I ran, the only difference is that I only had 2 Abuni, so I had 2 and 4 when I actually played it. This is probably how I would play it if I had the cards. And there will be a link in the description of my like 20-minute video going over this deck, but this is what I ran. It was super good. It felt very confident. I went 4-0-1, and the draw was definitely winnable in my opinion, so it felt very strong. I wish I did place against Anthony because I'd be interested to see how I did it against Invoker. But I think this is a solid list, and anyone who wants to try it out, they totally should. If you want more information, go to my other video, but that's all I'm going to talk about today on this one. Next up, on third place, we've got Ray, Iron Ninja 22, and he ran his Fused Zamasu. Very cool build. A lot of people kind of wrote this leader off, including myself. But he's got like, I don't know, his active main is more powerful in practice than just reading the card. I think that's like the big thing for this guy. So first, when your life is at 4 or less, or you have four or more energy, you can draw one, flip this card over, and also untap one. So you can awaken with this guy with like a lot of like life up, which is super helpful. And like being able to awaken early has always been a fantastic thing. And now that we have some like more alternative ways to awaken, so that you can have like more than 4 life, can be very helpful as well. So doing that, like he's just like a standard leader on the front side, but on the back side. So when this card attacks, you can draw 1, and then active main once per turn. You can place 1 of your energy in your owner's drop area. You can choose 1. This card gains dual attack for the turn, or you can choose 1 of your opponent's battle card and place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. So being able to like it just like this card like pluses 2 on the back side essentially, because it's auto when this card attacks is not once per turn. So if you give it dual attack, you draw 2, 1 for every time you swing with it, or you just swing with it once, but you also you can choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards and place it at the bottom of their deck. So just doing it, being able to do that is fantastic. You can awaken on technically like turn 2, right? Because you can place this in your energy. When this card is played from your hand, place top card of your deck in your energy. Then at the end of the turn, if this card you place in your energy, place its owner's drop area. So essentially what you can do is on turn 2, you have 2 energy open. You play Zamasu, get a free energy, and then you play Zeno, and you get another free energy. And then you're at 4 energy, you can awaken, and then you can pop the Zeno energy that you added, and then you can to give your leader dual attack and stuff. So being able to awaken on turn 2 is great. I'm not sure why he only ran 3 of these Zamasus. I would think this would be a 4 of, but he didn't, and he did very well, so I'm not going to judge it. He also went 4-0 and 1. I'm not sure what his draw was, but it wasn't me. This wasn't the deck I played against, so he got a draw against someone else, but seems really cool. On the super combo split, he went with Zeno and Son Gohan. I wonder if it made more sense to do like a sparking one, because you awaken so early, so a 4 or less might be kind of clunky, but there's that. He also runs the UI package, which is great. So you can use the Son Goku Infinite to choose 1 of your battle cards at any cost of 4, which would be an Obuni only in this case, but even just hard casting this for 5 and then going into Ultra Instinct will be fine enough for this as well. What else we got here? He's running the Trunks. He's running the Fused Zamasu Tragedy Overground engine as well, because that can be really brutal. Giving this big dual attack, which is just 35k dual attack, is a lot of pressure, especially when you can't really pop it unless you give it minus 35k. And then Tragedy Overground. So when this card's activated, you can choose all your opponent's battle cards, ignoring bear, and place in the owner's energy in rest mode. And then permanent, when your opponent plays a battle card at any cost of 4 or more, is placed in its owner's energy in rest mode instead. So just like these 2 effects are really powerful. So just being able to get to that energy is great. And I think this is a cool deck. I'm going to try it out for sure and see how it goes. The only thing I would think would be added was maybe like for turn 1. Like it doesn't look like this deck has a really good turn 1 play. And I would try to make space for perhaps the 1-drop tutor is the one that like the Mai that looks for like a 2-drop unison or a Trunks. I could see that being pretty helpful on turn 1, but I'm not sure what this deck looks like on turn 1. So I mean playing Zeno I think is like the only thing you can really do is just draw 1, or you just have the energy open for defense. But that's that, and let's go to the next one. So the last one in the top 4 is Brandl's Veggies Boo. So there's 2 Veggies decks. In this one, we also have Austin Waldron's Veggies. So he ran kind of more the, I'd say, traditional package you would expect to run with this guy. And then this is the Boo engine. And so I've never seen this deck in action, so I won't say that I'm an expert, especially since these decks both kind of skew aggressive, and I'm more of a mid-range control player. So I would recommend, if they do make videos or anything like that, to listen to what they say as opposed to me. But the basic idea for this one is that it's this 2-drop Majin Buu. So it has this active main. If all your energy is black and you have no cards in your hand, you can place this card as owner's drop, and you can start the Buu chain, or if you have 3 more energy, you can play 1 from your drop area as well. So the idea with this is that you just fill your drop area with the active main burst, and then you're able to use this Boo stuff. I don't know how good it is in the context of you have to like discard a bunch of cards from your hand. Like, you have to have like no hand cost, right? When you look at like the Bobbity leader, you have to have you get to draw 5 every turn, so it kind of makes it worth it. But in this case, you kind of, instead of having cards in your hand, you just have a bunch of stuff you can summon. So obviously you're playing 4 of all the burst summon guys. You're playing the full Boo engine. You're also playing this Majin Buu, which gets like a +1 as well. So you can you can discard a card, and then you get up to 2. So that's really helpful as well. And there isn't really a way to draw cards, right? Like you get your like draw 1 for your active main for this guy, but you don't like get a burst of draw cards but you just get like so many drop area effects and everything, and you fill up your drop so fast that it's worth it from there. So I would definitely like to see this deck in action, because I don't know exactly how it works, but obviously it's very aggressive, very powerful. Like, this Go Tanks too, like is fantastic, especially since you can, like, it helps you discard cards and can be a very good force to be reckoned with. So next up, we've looking at the other Veggies. So this is more part of, let's see, where's the new guy? There's something that summons. Okay, yeah. So it's mostly focusing on this engine 2 with when this card is played with Overwhelm, you can play up to 1 Vegeta Xeno with any cost 3 from your deck in rest mode, then shuffle your deck. So you can use this to find either Vegeta Returned from the Darkness, which is critical, I guess, and burst when you play this card if your opponent has 11 more cards. That probably doesn't happen, but it just kind of goes into the archetype of being able to Union Potara these guys, as well as there's also the 2 of this Vegeta Demonstration Might. So actually choose this card in one of your black battle cards and cost 3 or less, send the chosen cards to their owner's warp, then draw 1. So I would assume, actually no, this is not the promo one. I'm thinking, all right, I'm lost. I'm not sure how this deck works. Forgive me, but it just works with the unison. So being able to unison into this with just this guy is good, and this deck obviously has a lot of pressure. And there's some big end game guys like this 5-drop Hatchiyak and the 5-drop Son Goku Saiyan Transcendence. Both these cards are good in the sense that they're can put a lot of pressure. And obviously this guy awakens really early too, so it can be really aggressive without having to like be worried about being defensive at times. And just has like a lot of tricks with it. So just the amount of cards it's able to summon, and like Super Saiyan 3 tag teams and Gohan's great. Being able to run like this SCR is great. And just pressure your opponent is fantastic. So there's that. Watch other people's talks on these decks because they probably know more than I do. Next up, we've got 2 Dredge Crew decks. Slightly know these decks a little bit better because they're green. But so first we've got Jacob's Dredge Crew. I believe that's right. I believe this is Jacob's, right? Yeah, okay. This is Jacob's and this is Vinny. So both similar in ways, but different in ways as well, which means nothing. But they both kind of focus on. They're running the 2-drop unison of Bardock. They're running 4 and 4 of those, which is really good. You can see, like, I'd say Jacob was creative in the sense he ran one of these guys. And let's just look what they have the same. So they're both running like Hasty Dispatch Dispo for sure. And they're both running a bunch of like 1-drops. Like this Vegeta is super good, super combo in this deck, being able to just play it, have your opponent discard 1, and then just pop it with Bardock to make them discard a second one. So for like 1 energy, you make them discard 2, which is better than Rebrianne, but you just have to have 2 cards for it. Let's see. There's some spice in this one. I forgot. Because this one focuses on to save a hopeful future, and this one does not run this. So this is more just kind of grindy in the sense of like just aggressively milling your opponent's hand and getting a lot of advantage for it. Being able to play Frieza into Fused Zamasu is really good, and like the Son Goku Power of Lynch is great too because you're obviously going to make your opponent discard a bunch of cards and everything. And I guess like this, I say this is one's just really mid range, and you just hope you hit your Rebriands every turn, and you just keep doing that. 3 Dormant Potentials is weird that it's low. I'd almost do like 4 of these and 2 Shocking Death Balls because worst case this can always KO a 2 or less. But I guess this also like actually negates the attack. But you also have 4 the greater good. I don't know. There's probably a lot to think about for these negates and everything. But this one looks really straightforward. The only thing I'd say about this deck is that I run a little bit more Unison because you could brick and not find your 2-drop Unison, and then you're just like half your cards are dead. So that's the only thing I think might be a better add. But being able to just like Master Roshi all of your green extra cards is fantastic. I guess that's why, right? Because you can always Master Roshi one of your dormant potentials that you mill. That can be really helpful. And so that's this version. And Vinny's version, he's got some more spice. So not even a scratch, which you can just, I would assume that if he had Goku Apes, I don't know, he doesn't have Goku Apes. I'm not sure if that's a budget reason or not. But this is also just a fantastic card too. Even if like, there's a lot of times where I'd have energy open and be like, I could draw 2, but then I'd be tapped out. But if I could use 1 energy to draw 1, that'd be kind of the perfect medium. So being able to do that with not even a scratch is a good compromise sometimes. So I don't think this card's bad. If in decks like this, you can totally run this instead of Goku and be fine. He does have 4 of the Rebrianne, which is obviously the play you want for 2 energy. So having this as an option if you only have 1 energy you want to use is a good compromise, I think. Let's see. He's mainboarding the Haru Haru. If your leader card is green or yellow, he would have he would have had a hard time against me, I guess, with these. But these are fantastic cards. He's also running to save a hopeful future, so this can be great for like for one value playing a 5-drop. So that includes the Zurloin, which also plays another 4-drop, which is great. It's great for this Rebrianne, which can just blow up the board. It's great for playing this Android 21, which can just get you 1 life and make your opponent lose automatically. And Combo Killer Analyza as well. So obviously this is more like a mid-range kind of hand destruction archetype, but seems really good as well. He's also running like the Frieza. He's also got the big boy secret rare, and that helps you as well. I like this. This would probably be close to the version that I would run if I ran this deck. Just really control, like mid-range heavy. The Jacob's version was a little bit more aggressive, which is fine, but just not kind of my style. So I like this version. He's also running 2 of these Ginus for fun. So when this card is played, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, gain control of it, and then you just swap. So this is a good target to save a hopeful future. And if you're playing like a really heavy control deck, you can just steal it. And that can be very powerful as well. So I like this deck. This looks really fun. Obviously, he wouldn't play these hard horrors in the main if he was playing against if there was a sideboard, but there isn't, so he decided to put it in the main. And it looks like it worked out for him well enough. And he also ran 60 cards. I don't remember how much Jacob was running, but probably it looked like he was running 50 because there weren't as many cards. Probably closer to 50. And then lastly, we've got this Son Goku list run by Carlos. I played him, and this is my last round. This was a super close game with him as well, and it just has a lot of cool text that I really enjoy. So obviously, I think Kid Ku's in a really good spot right now. People might make fun of the Shenron Unison, but I think it's also a really good card. And being able to like just plus like this, having this card survive 1 or 2 turns is really helpful. Sure, you don't have like any like Unison like counterplays like the Frieza or like the SS4 Vegeta, but just being able to have this guy out, and you can, if you need this guy to survive, you can just drop 1 card from your life. I think this card would have been fine-ish since it's it's a black Unison card, to have it go to your hand instead, but that's not for me to talk about. But he's pretty good at just either doing the +1. You can choose one of your skillless battle cards and give it double strike, and that's great. Or for 0, if you have no skillless battle cards in play, you can play 1 any cost of 2 from your drop area. So if you just have like as a value play, you can think of playing Yamcha for 2, or you could play this Shenron for 1, and then you can do a +0 and play this for free, right, from your drop area. So that can be really helpful and just a very good value play. And so the cards that he added were Yamcha's and Ox King, and also 2 of these as well. And this is Earthling Monster. That might be, I guess, I mean, you'll probably never want to do like Earthlings, but the reason that matters is for these Bulma, the Bunny Girl. So when one of your red Earthling cards other than Bulma is removed from your battle area by opponent's skill, you may play this card from your hand. If you do, play 1 red Earthling only battle card at any cost of 4 or less from your drop area. So, like, let's say I try to get rid of your Ox King with a skill, which would probably be the best way to do it, because he's a big old 30k. Then instead, you would be able to, you could just play this Bulma, and then you can just play the Ox King that just got removed from your, it's from your drop area, right? Yeah, so you can just summon the Ox King again and have the Bulma out. So that's a really powerful combo, and that's really the only reason I like, that's a good like red stuff going on. And she's a blocker and like all that other stuff, so that's really good. 4 Topos makes sense. Overwhelm is just a Dimensional Banisher Fu and a Bardock fully unleashed. And then also he's running 3 of these SS4 Son Goku, and this is really easy to just pop like your Ox King, and then you get this Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and with triple strike and offering, so that's really helpful as well. You can ideally get this out turn 3 if you play Son Goku turn 1, and then turn 2 you bring out this Ox King, and then you awaken at 6 or less life with your Son Goku and go from there. I think that all makes sense. So, and that's it. So we played. It was a great game. If you want to see our match, it was round 5, and on my big like mega video with all the matches I played. So if you want to see that, go ahead. And I think that is it for all these. So let me know what you guys think about this. Really cool. Thinking like talking afterwards. I'm really surprised like there's no SS4 Gotenks. I was surprised there's no Gotenks list popping around in top 8, because obviously I was a really popular leader, but it didn't make the cut this time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the tournaments. There's 2 tournaments. One's by Core, and I don't remember who the other one's by. But there will be next week as well, and I'm excited to see what people are going to play this next week. So this is it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks again to PPG for hosting this event and for giving me these deck lists to go over. And I'll catch you all next time.